seem that it's really got any direct function here.
So this is a complete insult to every MP that lives anywhere other than London and Manchester, because what he's effectively saying is that if you represent Durham or Newcastle or the South West or Southend, where I used to represent, you are not capable of making your case and getting things for your patch. I'm afraid that is absolutely untrue. MPs worth their salt, that's their job, to lobby in Westminster, to go to find those ministers, to make your case and to get the resources and the investment into your patch. And I don't agree with you, Patrick, that the MPs for Durham didn't do that. There was plenty of cash that was going up to Durham. But what I think about Burnham is he is the absolute king of style over substance. He's like the candy floss Prime Minister. You know, great big, looks lovely, pink. The moment you take a bite of it, you realise there's nothing there. He's completely an empty vessel. We have massive problems facing this country and the world. We've got an energy crisis fueled by two wars, one in Europe and one in the Middle East. We've got a borders crisis right here in the UK. We've got a debt crisis and we've got a defence crisis. What has Andy Burnham said about any of that? Absolutely nothing. And opening a building in Manchester is pathetic. It's not a building that makes a difference. It's the decisions that the Prime Minister makes, and he isn't making any, is he?
The real cost of Number 10 North and the public relations machine. Look closely at the surface of British politics today, and you will see a masterclass in modern political staging. While the average household juggles rising bills and crumbling public services, our leaders are busy building regional palaces and expanding their media empires. The recent unveiling of Number 10 North in Manchester was presented as a historic leap forward for regional devolution. We were told it would bring power closer to the people, drive growth in every postcode, and restore hope to forgotten communities across the north. But when you peel back the slick marketing and high-minded speeches, what are we actually paying for? Behind the velvet curtain, this shiny new office is costing tens of millions of pounds, starting with nearly £900,000 a year, strictly reserved for social media managers, videographers, and motion designers. Instead of hard-working policymakers tackling economic stagnation, we are funding a high-end content house designed to keep politicians looking sleek on your phone screen. If you enjoy deep, unfiltered takes on the real stories shaping this nation, please hit the subscribe button for Britain Underneath. Your support truly helps this channel grow and allows us to keep digging beneath the surface. Now, let us jump straight into the details.
Well, today, Andy Burnham unveiled Number 10 North.
Thank you, everybody. I cannot tell you what a proud moment this is. I think this might be the best day of my life.
The best day of his life, really. Not his wedding day, not the day his kids were born. I don't find that very believable. They've given it a logo as well. So have you seen the logo for Number 10 North? Right, well, we want to hear it. I think we can bring that up on the screen there. Oh, wonder how long it took them to come up with that. Oh, my gosh, hours and hours of work have gone into that. I wonder which crack team of graphic designers were paid for it. But we've actually done our own, inspired by what Andy Burnham said his favourite biscuit was. He was asked what his favourite biscuit was, and he said, I don't really eat biscuits. I just like chips and gravy. And here is what we think it should be, the logo of Number 10 North. Just loads of chips and gravy. There you go. That should be his thing, shouldn't it, really? I mean, you're welcome, Andy. You can have that one for free. But Burnham was filmed. He was rolling into Number 10 North. Here he is. I think he clearly thought it looked a bit like this. He obviously thought that he was like notorious gangster Tommy Shelby from the BBC show Peaky Blinders. But what Andy Burnham was probably less keen for you all to know was this. He flew there, didn't he? He flew from London to Glasgow, then to Manchester. He took a 38-minute flight there. What will that have cost us? It's ridiculous. And what would Ed Miliband have to say about it?
No, that's wrong.
Said they're probably on the same plane, someone said. But on that issue of cost, what is number 10 North going to cost us? Well, tens of millions of pounds, apparently. And what will it achieve? Well,
take power out of here and carry it into every postcode in the land. Good growth in every postcode drives good growth in every postcode.
Good growth in every postcode, hope in every heart.
Good growth in every postcode, hope in every heart. But, of course, it's about that idea about bringing power back to not just Manchester, but the North in general, local councils, etc. So will he give them powers to tackle illegal immigration? No, obviously not. Of course he won't. They wheeled out Angela Rayner to defend it.
What we've seen is the growth in Greater Manchester is outstripping that of national growth. And that's because they've got more devolution and more power in the local area.
Consider the sheer irony of the situation. At a time when members of the public are urged to take the bus, use public transport, and embrace environmental sacrifice, the leaders championing this northern expansion were reportedly whisked across the country on private aircraft costing tens of thousands of pounds. It is the classic dynamic of modern governance: one set of rules for the public and a far more comfortable set for those in charge. Take a breath and reflect on that for a moment, because it highlights a growing disconnect that affects all of us. Critics from every side of the political spectrum are rightfully asking why we need another administrative hub when local constituency representatives are already paid to fight for their regions in Parliament. Opening a new building does not solve an energy crisis, it does not fix public sector debt, and it certainly does not lower your weekly shopping bill. It simply creates another layer of bureaucracy wrapped in a stylish logo.
Unfortunately, Manchester has actually seen the biggest drop in living standards of anywhere in England, so I'm not too sure she knows what she's on about that. An analysis released this evening by the Taxpayers Alliance claims that the number 10 North Vanity Squad will cost the taxpayers £872,404 a year just in staffing costs. You've got a videographer there, a social video lead, a senior motion designer, head of social creative and production, social producer. They are turning it just into an influencer hotspot. It's going to look like Dubai, isn't it? People there just taking TikToks of themselves all the time. Look, I want to know, will it work? Is it a waste of time and money? And I'm looking forward to getting the views of the audience on this as well, how they feel about this whole thing. Right, OK, so Krista, let me go to you first on this. How do you feel about the number 10 North thing?
I think that it is completely and utterly pointless. What is the point? Who asked for it? Who wanted it? What has the North done to deserve Angela Rayner being there full time? Why were you going to have a go at me then?
I thought you were going to slag off the North again. You've done that before. There was a show where you managed to alienate basically all of our audience.
Yes, and that's one of my proudest shows. Thank you very much indeed. No, I think that, it being the happiest day of his life, the day he arrived in the North, is very, very nice. It was the happiest day of mine when I left. But, thank you very much.
It is. I knew it.
This brings us to the broader issue of how modern political power operates. We are living through an era where image frequently overrides impact. When a political establishment prioritizes short-term public relations campaigns over systemic solutions, the taxpayer pays twice, once for the project itself and again for the team hired to convince us it was a success. From tax tweaks that barely touch the sides to grand structural announcements that deliver minimal change, the focus has shifted from solving problems to managing perceptions. Staying informed about these subtle shifts is vital if we want to hold those in power accountable. If you appreciate this level of critical analysis and want to stay ahead of the narrative, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. It takes just a moment, but it makes a world of difference for our work and keeps this community strong.
Was coming.
I don't understand. Why do we, by the way, get a £2 bus fare and he gets a £30,000 jet? That's what I want to know. And who actually asked for this? It is all just performative nonsense. It's fine that things are run from London as long as other parts of the country are considered. The idea that we have to have... And did you see the building? It looks like some really just grim middle management type of place where people who used to compete in the Krypton factor normally used to work. So I'm sorry, I just think it's pointless. I think it's just performative, and I think that no one has asked for it and no one wants the money that's going to be spent on it.
OK, all right. Yes,
thank you.
I mean, I do want to make it clear, as someone who's from Manchester, I am not against the idea of, in theory, Manchester having more power and all of this stuff. It's just the fact that we don't know what he's going to do.
Why does Manchester need more power? Why does Manchester need to have, say,
well, not just Manchester. It's places because it's supposed to be a symbol for other places as well. Like, for example, I went and did a show from a place called Stanley in County Durham. That is a place that has been completely and utterly forgotten. Former mining town, people living up there. They don't get any real representation at all from Westminster. They're just a complete afterthought and all of that. But so I do feel they are. I'm sorry, but they are. There's no representation. So I am in favour of there at least being a nod and a wink to it. But Anna, go on. You're making a reaction there. It doesn't seem that it's really got any direct function yet.
So this is a complete insult to every MP that lives anywhere other than London and Manchester, because what he's effectively saying is that if you represent Durham or Newcastle or the South West or Southend, where I used to represent, you are not capable of making your case and getting things for your patch. I'm afraid that is absolutely untrue. MPs worth their salt, that's their job. To lobby in Westminster, to go to find those ministers, to make your case and to get the resources and the investment into your patch. And I don't agree with you, Patrick, that the MPs for Durham didn't do that. There was plenty of cash that was going up to Durham. But what I think about Burnham is he is the absolute king of style over substance. He's like the candy floss Prime Minister. Great big, looks lovely, pink. The moment you take a bite of it, you realise there's nothing there. He's completely an empty vessel. We have massive problems facing this country and the world. We've got an energy crisis fueled by two wars, one in Europe and one in the Middle East. We've got a borders crisis right here in the UK. We've got a debt crisis and we've got a defence crisis. What has Andy Burnham said about any of that? Absolutely nothing. And opening a building in Manchester is pathetic. It's not a building that makes a difference. It's the decisions that the Prime Minister makes, and he isn't making any, is he?
As we look toward the future, the fundamental question remains, will initiatives like Number 10 North genuinely empower northern towns, or will they simply serve as expensive backdrop sets for political photo opportunities? History suggests that true regional strength comes from economic substance, robust infrastructure, and genuine investment, not from hiring digital influencers to stream official announcements. Make sure you stick around and stay tuned for our upcoming coverage as we will continue to unpack the political manoeuvres that standard news outlets tend to overlook. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you found this breakdown valuable, please subscribe to Britain Underneath right now so you never miss an update. And be sure to return for our next deep dive into the hidden mechanics of British politics.